Folks, we have the one and only Mr. Stephen Dow from Velocity Mortgage here. We're going to talk about something that is very cool. If you take out the Monopoly board, there are a couple of pieces or places or spots called Boardwalk and Park Place. We're going to talk about potentially doing high-end rentals. We will talk about why in a minute, but before we do, let's welcome Stephen to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. And yourself?
I'm doing really, really well. So do me a favor, get that marketing thing out of the way so we're both protected. And then I have a question for you.
Okay, thanks for remembering again. Although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel are that of my own. So let's get it going.
So one of the things that you heard me put out on my channel probably 6 or 9 months ago is I am poking around the luxury market. Okay. People undoubtedly have heard me say luxury is dead, 3X inventory, all of those things. Right. I'm also following Patrick Bet-David's advice of being open to writing disrespectful offers.
Right.
You know, I'm comfortable doing that. I'm okay being told no. My preference in this space, without question, is some kind of seller financing.
Sure.
However, having had a couple of these conversations, it does lead me to believe that I'm going to have to come in with more down. We may have to do the 50-40-10 or the, you know, some version of that. So I've never asked you. Does Velocity play in the luxury market? You know, I'm thinking, you know, maybe let's say up to $1 million. I have no idea what I might get, but you know, $1 million rental. I never bought one. Certainly never a single family home, but I've never had to look here for lending products. So I just thought I would throw it out to you. Does Velocity play in this space? What do you need?
We
to
do
know?
actually.
What questions? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the ease of use,
are you looking for?
Sorry, I'm looking for my calculator.
Are you? Yeah, it's not just directly attached to your hand.
That's what I'm thinking too, as well. But I'm like, I must have put it down someplace. No, I'm notorious for that. Anyway, that's okay. No, I was trying to see because at a max 75% LTV, actually, it would be 70% on the for residential luxury, but we can go up to 2 million. And there's no DSCR. So some of these other programs, or I should say more along lines of, you know, we're very lenient as far as debt coverage ratio. So typically right now, people might find, you know, it challenging to qualify for conventional financing and or DSCR programs for a higher balanced, you know, luxury type properties because they usually don't debt service. But they, you know, as far as being utilized for short-term rentals, things of that nature, some lenders don't allow that as well. So we do allow in that kind of space, just in case if some investors are looking at that type of property for that capacity, then yeah, we can definitely help out.
So if I was gonna, again, I'm just literally having these discussions, a couple of them, and I expect more to start over the next year or so. And for me, I will, without question, structure the deal where I cash flow day one, or I don't do the deal. Let's be very, very clear. I am comfortable. Again, I'm already communicating with a couple of owners that I want to bring 10% in down. That's where I'm getting pushback. They want more.
Sure.
Which I would love to get a loan to do that. So that's where the kind of combo Boardwalk Park Place.
I wanted to touch upon that as well, is because since the last time we've, you know, spoken, for the most part, I mean, regularly, that is, right before you left on vacation, we've actually dropped our rates. Actually significantly. So that's where I thought that maybe, you know, to revisit that again, we could still get pretty close to the previous pricing, but now it's 60% LTV. So I've kind of found somewhat of a loophole that I could structure, you know, and pricing and things of that nature. So now we could talk about 60-30-10 and get about the same kind of rate or pricing. So now it might make it a little bit easier of a pill to swallow for the seller to say they need to hold back only 30%, and they're getting 70% of their money now. So I think that's a you know, engaging conversation at this point.
So let me repeat what I heard. So basically, it's possible to structure a deal where Velocity's in the first position at 60,
right?
Seller's in position at second at 30.
Correct.
I bring in 10, which is what I want, but the seller net 70 minus closing costs. Blah, blah, blah. Right. Ooh, I like that.
I mean, you get a little bit closer to where, you know, they might be willing to pull the trigger because then now, like, hey, I'm getting 70% of my money now. You know what I mean? I can make the bleeding stop, yada, yada, yada. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah. So what I've gone to these sellers with now is like, hey, 10 or 15% down, you hold back 90 or 85%. It's not getting any traction, right? It's like,
No.
are you kidding me, kid? Get out of here.
Well, I guess it also depends on the seller's, motivation,
Of
or
course.
like what are they going to do with the
Dude,
money,
we're in the first inning of this, like
Yeah,
shopping for luxury property. But I like to
but
be
I think if we
prepared.
talk about it enough, yeah, if we
Yeah.
talk about it enough, I think a lot of sellers are starting to gravitate towards that because I think the end of last year, I started seeing an uptick because I ended up doing about 17 total of all these like combination,
Yeah.
first
50
and then
40s and
seller
stuff.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of sellers really saw that as a benefit because again, I think they were seeing where certain markets were heading. They might as well make the bleeding
Yeah.
stop, get into something now, and then get passive income. But anyway,
Velocity is very unique in my non-QM space because of the combined loan to value, the CLTV.
right, right.
That is magic. And again, I'm trying to use it. I know my audience is using it. I get notes from people all the time that they're using it.
I was just going to mention one other thing too. Even on our fix and flip, we'll allow up to a 90% CLTV.
Shut up.
Mm-mm-mm. So that means technically you can put 10% down. Seller carries the other 10%, and we do 80% of the purchase price. Yeah.
Really? Why haven't we talked about that before? I did not know that.
Yeah,
So,
that was
so I want
that,
so okay. So I go buy because again, I've already bought. I'm in a lucky position.
I saw those two. Yeah, yeah.
I had the cash. I just wrote a check, but I could have. So let's just talk about the one that's in escrow right now. I bought it for 175. It was a junk.
Okay. Right.
The ARV is 300. Wow. I have to put 50K in. So I bring you a deal, purchase price 175, 50K of repair money, and let's just say for shits and giggles, you agree with 300. Okay?
Sure.
What could I have gotten with Velocity?
I would have covered 80% of your purchase price. I would have allowed the seller to carry a 10% second, and then we would have allowed you to put the 10% right in theory, and then we would have covered 100% of your rehab.
Shut up.
Well, it depends on the overall like sliding scale because ultimately you only needed 50 grand to make it 300,000. So there's a lot of meat on the bone,
a lot of room.
But let's just But let's say that you were wanting 80,000 and the ARV was only like 250. I probably won't give you 100% your rehab, right? So it's just a sliding scale as far as But so in that specific scenario, we could have done that.
Yeah, if those numbers are true and all the assumptions and the blah 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 blah. So rough and tough, I could have got this deal done for 20 grand.
Roughly, because 10% down. Right. Not bad. I mean, it just depends on all right. Am I making your brain hurt a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, because I wrote $500,000 in checks over 2 properties. I could have been out of pocket. I don't know. Let's call it 50 grand ish.
Sure.
Well, okay.
Something to think about now, right?
Yeah. So again, I can do this fix and flip. So one of the things we haven't talked a lot about is fix and flip. And again, I want to be very clear. Most of you all should not be flipping. But if you can find junk, if you can find junk that you can sell below the area median average, I'm 2 for 2, and it can be done. So work. You know what? We'll do the fix and flip in the second video. I want to separate this out. If somebody wanted to talk luxury rentals, seller 60, 30, 10s, where do they reach out?
Steve Dow, or excuse me, S Dow. So SDAO at velocitymortgage.com. In the subject line, please put the acronym ORAAT for one rental at a time so we make it past the firewall. In the body of the email, brief description, what you're looking for, property address would be very helpful, at least the city and state just to make sure we lend there, maybe your mid-FICO score, and then, of course, the best phone number to reach you at, and I'll be in touch within typically 24, 48 hours.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much.